Hi, my name is Eunice, and I'm here to give you my story. I came from British Guyana in 1965. What happened at the age of 13, I started rebelling. After being raised in the church, knowing about the Lord Jesus, and having a relationship with Him as a child, I turned away from the church and I didn't want anything to do with church anymore. So at the age of 13, I started rebelling in my life where I started dating older guys from my neighborhood. I looked older, so a lot of older guys wanted to date me at the time. I didn't listen to my mother when she would tell me to stay home. When her back was turned, I would leave the house in the middle of the night and go downtown with my friends, and all we did was party. I was only 13 years old. What happened by the time I was 15, I lived a life of, by the time I was 16, I lived a life of drugs and alcohol, just rebelling, not listening. I had a child at the age of 17, and I ended up working a regular job. I moved back with my mother, and I lived my life just quiet for a little while. So what happened, I got married a couple years later and started rebelling again, just drinking and partying and doing drugs. By the time I was 20 years old, I just did not want to live anymore. I was walking in Toronto with my husband at the time, and I really wanted to die. I was in such despair. Everything came crashing down on me. My life felt empty, and I just did not want to live anymore. I was way ahead of my husband at the time, but he didn't see when I made that decision to jump into the water and to end my life. I couldn't swim, so I thought this was the best way I could end my life, by just going down into the water and ending it. On impulse, I wasn't even thinking. I was in such despair. My mind was so cluttered with hopelessness. I was hopeless. I felt hopeless. I felt like I couldn't go on anymore. And at the time, I decided to just end it all. And I jumped into Lake Ontario, thinking that that would be the end of my life. As I was going down in the water, I was going down so fast, I couldn't even swim up to save myself. I felt a presence in the water. I felt that someone grabbed my shoulders on the left-hand side and on the right-hand side. As I looked around me in the water, I was going down so fast. I saw these massive beings, and I realized that they were angels at the time. They grabbed my shoulders, and as I looked at them, I could see right through them. And they grabbed me so fast. It happened so fast, in a blink of an eye. I was rushed to shore. They just both grabbed me, and I couldn't believe it, what was going on with me. And I realized that God sent His angels. At that time, I realized I was being rescued by God's angels. As they put me on the shore, they were gone. In a minute, they were gone. I was soaking wet. I was laying there on the boardwalk, and my husband caught up with me, and he was shocked that I was wet. I told him that I fell into the water, and I was somehow I came out of it. And you would think that I would give my heart to the Lord that night, and I didn't. I went on and on with my lifestyle. I went on and on with living a life that was not pleasing to God. I was still drinking. I was still partying. Until 1990, I decided to give my heart to Jesus Christ. I was so far away from the Lord in my heart, but yet at the same time, I felt that He loved me. I still felt His love. The drinking and the partying is not, for me, it was what I did at the time. I just want you to know, it's not about drinking or partying in your life. It's your heart being far away from the Lord and not having a relationship with Him. And that's what I was not having. There was a knock on the door. The police officer came into the house that I was living in at the time, and he told me my third son, Michael, died in a car accident. it was the most devastating thing that hit me. I was in shock. I could not believe that my son passed away like that. I started slowly drinking again to calm my nerves and to calm me. I went back to the things that I thought was fulfilling to me. I couldn't believe that I lost my son. It was the worst thing that a parent can go through at the time. I just was really hurt. I was really hurt. I repented from those things and I went back to serving the Lord the way I should have. Anyways, just to let you know that my son passed away. It was a tragic incident, but I never ever got mad at God. Somehow I knew that whatever happened, I could move on again and I could move forward in the things of God. This year, in 2017, I suffered another blow. I lost my 22-year-old daughter, Nikki Taylor, from suicide. As Nikki was growing up, she was a child that was quite, she was different. I had lovely moments with my daughter. She was a lovely girl. She loved to sing. And when she hit her teenage years, she got into a little bit of trouble, but I was always there for her, loving her, talking to her about the Lord. And she was in Sunday school. She went to youth group, so she knew the ways of God. When she hit her teen years and she started dating and rebelling, it was very hard for my husband at the time and I to raise Nikki, because she really, really gave us a lot of ups and downs. And we tried our best. We went for counseling. We tried our best. Last year around this time, Nikki confided in me that she was suffering from depression. But she said, "Mom, a darkness comes over me. I don't know what to do about it." I said, "Nikki, you need to pray, because those are demonic spirits that's trying to attack your mind." And I told her she needs to pray and give her heart to the Lord continuously. And she did do that. Nikki Taylor did have a relationship with the Lord. But what she suffered, I will never know. I would never know the darkness that came on her that night when she decided to take her life. It was August 21st this year that Nikki decided to take her life. I was at home sleeping at the time, and I received a knock on my door. It woke me up. As I opened the door, it was my eldest son and my eldest daughter. As they proceeded to come through the door, they told me to sit down. They have something to tell me. So I sat down, and they went on to tell me that my youngest daughter killed herself. And it was very hard for me at the time when they told me that. It was like it was repeating itself, and I just could not, I just didn't know what to do. I started just counting. I just started counting 1, 2, 3, 4, and I quickly went into my bedroom and got dressed. And her younger brother was in the middle of the room crying his eyes out because he heard the news. The police came to the house and told them what happened. It was the worst thing that a parent could ever go through, the death of their child, especially the second time. And I know there's parents that have gone and they've suffered even more than I did. They lost a whole household full of children. And I could not imagine the pain that they went through. But what kept me going in my life and in the pain that I was going through was the presence of God in my life. I did not know why this happened to me the second time. After receiving Christ into my heart, I did so much in the church. I was involved in so much, and I was witnessing to people about the love of God, and I lost my second child. I did ask God why. I did question him, and my answer was peace. He gave me peace. All I know is that when God does anything for us, he does it, has a reason. He has his reasons why he does it, because he's God. And as much as I questioned God and I was in despair, I still felt his love upon me. And one night I got up and I started praying. I just started seeking God's face about the whole thing that happened to me, the whole situation that happened to me and my family. And he gave me such a peace. He gave me such a peace that came over me. A real, literal peace came over me. And the reassurance is that everything is under control. He has everything under control. Despite everything that I have gone through, I realized when the hard times did hit me, what was in me, and that was the love of God. Because what came out of me was more love for people. Everything that I've gone through, the pain and the suffering, as I gave it to the Lord, I'm realizing that I'm able to help other people and talk to them because I went through it. And what I went through, I can tell them from experience. I just want you to know, everyone, despite it all, despite what you might be going through and the pain that you might be suffering, maybe you suffered a loss, maybe it was something else, run to the Lord. He's the one that will be your strength. He's the one that will give you hope. Because he lives, we can live a better life. Thank you very much for listening to my testimony. May you all be blessed.